welcome back to the channel. If you watched the last couple of videos, you'll know that this is a series of videos about skid control techniques, how to control the car when you start to lose grip with the road surface, how to regain that control when things have gone wrong. Again, a little reminder, always best not to get in the skid in the first place. This is beyond where things have gone wrong, but there are still a number of options that you've got to regain control of the car before you roll into a fireball, into a field, into a hedge, into a tree and all the rest of it. So hopefully we can keep you on the road and keep you on the grey stuff and keep the car shiny side up. That's what's important, isn't it? So in this video, I'm going to do the next couple of, this one and the next video are about skids that are caused by cornering, or skids that occur during cornering. And there's two main types of skids that occur. There's understeer and there's oversteer, and this video is about understeer. So what's understeer? Well, the clue's in the name, but it's a really straightforward situation is understeer. The car basically will not steer as much as you want it to. Hence it is understeering. And understeer occurs usually because you've carried a little bit too much speed into a corner, and you know, you're losing a little bit of tyre grip there, and once you've used all your tyre grip up for the cornering, there's none left, the car will start to understeer. Now most front wheel drive cars naturally under most circumstances will understeer, and most road cars are set up to have a little bit of understeer anyway, because what happens is that your natural reaction and the natural reaction of your average driver who hasn't had any additional driver training is to lift off the gas. And actually lifting off the gas is the way that we start to control understeer. That's the first thing that we do to control understeer. So if you think about it, understeer is caused because the car is losing grip across the front axle, so the front tyres are losing grip with the road surface. So one of the easiest and quickest ways for you to regain that grip with the road surface, with the front axle, is to lift off the gas. You lift off the gas, the weight transfers forward, it pushes the front tyres into the road a little bit, and it also loses a bit of speed. And that can regain your control, that can get you steering back and get the car steering in the direction you want it to go. If that's not working, you can then dab the brakes a little bit. I don't mean a full-on emergency brake. I can work if you've got ABS, but just squeeze the brakes a little bit and get a bit more weight transfer going forwards. And again, that can help you regain control at the front of the car. What you've got to be careful with though is that if you transfer too much weight forward too quickly, it's not that the weight's going forward. You've got to remember then that you're removing weight from the rear of the car, and that's affecting the grip that you've got across the rear axle. So if you remove grip from the rear end of the car, you can then snap the car into oversteer and you can start losing control of the rear axle. So you need to be careful with that. French hot hatchbacks are a favourite for this, Peugeots and Renaults. Get into a corner, lift off the gas, and you get what's called lift off oversteer, and the rear end can start sliding around. But we'll talk about oversteer in the next video. This one we're going to look at understeer. So first of all, I'm just going to give you a demonstration of what it looks like to me from the driver's seat when the car starts to understeer. So I'll turn the stability control off, and we don't need to be going too fast, but I'm just going to drive along here now onto this slippery area, and I'm going to turn right, and I'm going to do it quite quickly. And you can see that the car, although I've got almost full lock on the car, actually it's pushing on, and it's not steering anywhere near as tightly as it would do if we were on a nice grippy tarmac road surface. Let's do that again, just so you get a vision of what it's like for the car understeering. Now this car is rear wheel drive, and you'll notice that just towards the end of that slide, as we were coming down and slowing the car down, I wasn't braking, I was just lifting off the gas, you'll see that the rear end just felt like it was rotating around a little bit. That's sort of the natural tendency of the car, but that's us also regaining a bit of grip. As the speed comes down, the car regains a little bit of grip. So we'll do it again. You'll notice at first, especially if I'm rough with the steering, if I put a rough steering input in here, it really doesn't steer very much. I've got a full turn of lock on there, and it's only as I lift off the gas that the car starts to regain control. We'll do it here. Turn the wheel, I've full lock there and almost nothing's happened, and it's only as I'm lifting off the gas that the car starts to regain control and starts to regain some grip. We're going to do it this time in the same spot. We're going to induce understeer, but this time what I'm going to do is lift off the gas earlier, encourage a little bit more front end grip from the car, and you'll notice then that very quickly I get some steering back. And the important thing to remember when the car's understeering is you'll feel like you want to steer more, because it's not going in the direction you want it to go. You'll feel like you want to steer the car more, and that's a mistake, because when you do regain grip, all of a sudden it'll go where you've pointed it. So try to control it with the throttle pedal rather than with the steering, because if you put more steering on, suddenly you'll get that grip and you'll find yourself going very quickly in the direction that you've pointed it. So again, we'll do it here. I'm going to turn the steering wheel, no grip, off the gas, and suddenly it comes round and we regain grip. Now if I put too much steering lock on at that point, the car's going to very quickly rotate. So again here, this little slippery area here, I'm going to turn the steering wheel, nothing will happen, nothing's happening, I'm off the gas now, and all of a sudden it regains grip. And I'm not even pressing the brakes at that point. I'm not pressing the brakes. Let's do it with a little bit of brakes on this time. So we get understeer and just a little bit of brakes, and look how quickly that came around then. That was just a couple of 2 or 3 little dabs of cadence braking on the front brakes, just to encourage some front end grip. And very quickly the car comes around, and actually very quickly on that slippery surface it starts to oversteer. We will talk about that in a future video, oversteer, but in this case we're looking at controlling understeer. So just one more demonstration of that now. We're just going to steer to the right, no grip, off the gas, little bit of brakes, and all of a sudden we've got the grip back and the car's going where we want it to. And I'm not adding extra steering there, that's the important thing to remember. So what about with stability control? Well, the car will recognise when the car's starting to understeer. So I'm going to switch the stability control back on again. And let's see what the car does this time. Let's do the same exercise and see what the car does. The car has a range of different controls that it can put in. It can apply individual brakes, it can cut the throttle. So here, I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to turn the steering wheel, understeer. Oh, and I can feel the car making those adjustments then. I haven't lifted off the gas at all. And you can feel the car stepping in, and you can feel it absolutely doing everything it can do to point you in the direction you want to go. But you've got to remember this with stability control on. Leave the steering alone. Just point the car in the direction you want to go, and the car will do everything else it can to put you back online again. So this time I'm not lifting off, I'm not braking. I'm just going to turn into this corner now and look at how the car is literally doing everything it can. And the car ends up reacting in the same way as it does when I was putting the inputs in, but I'm not doing anything. All I'm doing is steering the car in the direction that I want to go. So again, best advice in these situations is leave your stability systems on the road. Unless you're on an area like this off the road where you can have a play about and there's nothing to hit apart from that little bush, there's nothing to hit, leave the stability control systems on. I think that's a really good example of the difference between no stability control systems and the stability control systems being switched on. So there you go, that's how to control understeer. I should say as well that those techniques work whether the car is front wheel drive or rear wheel drive or four wheel drive. It's all about balancing the grip on the tyres and moving the car's weight around and making sure that we're not putting too much power through the wheels at the same time. So irrespective of whether it's front engine, rear engine, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive, all that kind of stuff, the techniques are the same. The car might feel different, it might react slightly differently, but if you find your car understeering and you're suddenly going out towards the outside of a roundabout or a hedge is appearing, lift off the gas, dab the brakes a little bit, try not to put too much steering on, that's the temptation, and you'll regain control. And if you've got your stability control systems on, just point the car where you want to go feather the gas back a little bit. You don't need to do anything more. If it really looks like it's terminal and you're going off the road, you don't forget you've got ABS. Press the brakes, loosen speed, regain some grip on your front axle, and the car will come back to you, hopefully. So that's it for this video, how to control understeer. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, it helps the channel along. And go and have a look at the website as well, reglocal.com. Loads more information there about advanced and performance driving, information about the books that I've written. They're available on Amazon, and also information about how you can get a day's driver or rider coaching with me. If you fancy coming out doing some advanced driver training or motorcycle training, drop us an email and we'll sort something out. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.